something that you had hit on was about tutors being mentors. I run my centers kind of like a big brother thing, big brother, big sister. For the students, I tell them like, if you make a 95 or something on your test, then I'll end up doing a whatever TikTok dance that you want to do. So I end up doing a dance for them, or I end up doing a dance with them, and they'll come back, they show me a test, and my wife, she'll record it. So it's all about having fun with them. So they have an incentive like, oh, I get to dance with Mr. Tristan.
Sit back, relax, and get ready to embrace the work hard, smile large vibe.
Welcome to the Work Hard, Smile Large podcast. I'm your founder and host, Nicole Christopherson, and I'm really excited to be highlighting education topic and series with my next few guests that we'll be releasing the episodes for. And today I have my friend Tristan Thompson, who I met earlier this year, who is a new-ish father, and also a big advocate for tutoring and helping the youth with their education. So I'm going to let him do a little intro and background on himself, and we'll get going so we can share a lot of important information with you about what we're doing to try and impact the future.
Hi, everyone. Once again, thank you, Nicole, for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be on. I am Tristan Thompson, not not that Tristan Thompson, not the one with the Kardashians. So I'm sorry.
Other Tristan, right
here.
here.
The other Tristan. It's the other Tristan. But I'm excited to be here. Just to echo a little bit of what Nicole said, I do own multiple Tutoring Club locations where it's a franchise based out of California. So right up your alley, Nicole. What we have is like a full service franchises that will help kids from kinder through 12. So from anything from homework and SAT prep and IC prep and all of that. So I'm very passionate about it. I started off as a tutor 15 years ago. Made partner at 23, 24 at the Pearland location that my aunt started. And then I bought my own in Allen at 25. And then me and my wife got married and I bought in her hometown. That was her gift for Mother's Day last year in Cypress.
That is so thoughtful. What a great Mother's Day present to be able to help children in her hometown.
Oh, yeah. So it's like no flowers over here, but so I'm not big on flowers, guys. So she's big on it, but I say, love, I have something even better for you. And then so she's running, and she's pretty incredible at it, actually.
Amazing. So you guys are doing quite a bit of traveling.
Yes. Yes. So then, so as far as like, she's pretty much ingrained in Cypress, and she helps out in Pearland as well. So I do like the flying going to the Dallas location. So I go back and forth. And just checking in on the students, checking in on the staff, checking the temperature, make sure everybody's good. So I've had students that have been with me for about 5 years at Allen. I've been able to see them, really and truly grow up. So it's been pretty cool. So I make sure that they know that I'm always involved and I'm there for them.
Well, and I'm curious just because I know that the administration and teacher body count and things like that in different school systems has had quite a bit of turnover. Having a student with you for 5 years, they must have pretty good relationships with the tutors. So, and it sounds like you do too, because that's pretty key.
Yeah, the tutors really do make or break you. It's all about your staff and having your directors, education coordinators. So I have a whole team in place that is dedicated for the kids. Some are for the elementary, some are for the middle, some are for the high. So for the high school students. So everybody is in their own lane. Mm-hmm. And so as far as with us, I don't like really a lot of staff turnover. And what makes us great is that a lot of my part-time workers are with me for 2-3 years. So I hire them seniors in high school or freshmen in college, and then I'll have them for 3 to 4 years. And that makes it pretty cool because they can establish those relationships with the kids, and the kids know that they're not going to have somebody different every other day.
Yeah. And that was one of my questions is like, where are you sourcing your tutors? And they're high school students going on to junior college and colleges and stuff like that and staying involved with you for numerous years, which is amazing. I think that's really important, the relationship that the tutors have. And that was, I think one of the things that kind of led me to go more the private route with finding a tutor for my kids most recently, because there was a lot of turnover and they weren't meeting with the same tutors in the centers that are nearby my location. So we've tried a bunch of different resources, and I think I want to really delve into like tutor clubs have on-site locations, but I'm sure you guys are maybe facilitating some remote still, or are you doing in-home tutoring as well? Like how many different avenues are you, resources, means of tutors getting to students do you guys have?
Sure. So with the pandemic, we had to really shift, which is obviously,
You know?
yeah, hey, like the entire world, we all had to adapt, or we wouldn't make it. And so during that time, and I have to give a major shout outs to our franchise leaders who went in and put our entire program that we do in person online. So Zoom became a big deal. I wish I would have invested back in it 2020. So we have a lot of our kids that do Zoom. So we had kids that we have kids that are all over, kids that moved, and they had the special relationships with certain tutors. So they still do, as far as Zoom tutoring with their favorite tutor. All you have to do is just send a link. They go through their homework, send an email, and they go through it step by step, but still with their favorite tutor, no matter where they are in the world.
Yeah, and pivoting like that and still being able to keep those connections and have these resources, I think is so priceless. And I do talk about that a lot with some of my guests and some of my friends and stuff like that in the community. A lot of people have negative connotations for technology, and I really see it being used so positively. It just, needs to be with the right professionals and in the right settings and things like that. But that's amazing that they're able to stay connected like that. Lots of changes happening in the education system, a lot more stress and strenuous requirements on students and with assessments and things like that. What is the tutoring club doing? Like, what kind of changes are you guys seeing coming up, and what, with regards to curriculum and students' needs and mirroring what the school systems are needing too?
Sure. So, I mean, anybody that's like not in tune with technology now in 2023, it's like, you just got to get with the program. It's been here. It's only going to continue to get bigger. Most businesses, like the way that we advertise, that you just used to be, oh, just leave me a review or something, like, and which is still big, but when parents want to see our pictures, Instagram, podcast, things of that nature, YouTube channels, all the things that you have to be creative and you have to go with the times. This is where they've been grown up. And
This is their social channel. Like, I mean, really technology has a lot of positive impact because you're able to positively influence students with your goals that you have with the tutoring club and what you're doing with the students and the outcomes and stuff like that. But yeah, it just has to be controlled. So I think it's an asset, for us to be able to use it. And I also think there's sometimes when I tell my children and I tell their teachers, I said, they're absolutely not going to come home at 4 p.m. after you've had them on a computer all day and get on and do their,
exactly.
their remedial work or their tutoring or their, practice work on a computer. So, we'll dedicate our time one-on-one, or we'll have somebody else like a mentor or tutor working with them, because I don't agree with them getting back on technology if you're using it that much in the classroom.
Exactly. And then it's like burnout,
Yeah.
the kids are, literally spending all of their time on the computer. And then that's like they're not having that type of communication. So that's what separates us. I'm more old school in that way, is that I want to see how you think. I want to see pen to paper. And that's how all the centers are ran.
Yeah.
As far as how I train the staff, is that I want you to see how each kid, like scratch paper. Like most kids don't even know, like, what's scratch paper? It's like, no, you have to use scratch paper. I want to see how you process things. What is your what is your thinking when trying to solve this problem? And then, so once we get into dive into that, we can try to see where you're going wrong. We can make corrections, and then help you even find an easier path. So you may go down one path to an answer, and it may take you 2-3 minutes. Another path could take you 30 seconds.
Exactly. And it's so funny because I was just working with my daughter, and we'll talk about online tutoring and getting connected and getting my kids connected with Tutor Club throughout the summer, because I'm going to have my kids stay kind of engaged throughout the summer. But I noticed my daughter was doing division with her tutor, and I'm like the traditional way of doing division, the line, the little line,
Yep.
going to this, which she's never been taught that. And I was flabbergasted, like as a third grader, because I'm like, okay. And I don't know if you know this, but I have my master's degree in elementary education, and and in literacy. So former teacher here 20 years ago, quite some time, but I do remember what I studied. And I mean, all students process things differently and come to conclusions and answers differently. And so they're supposed to be able to utilize the path that's easiest for them or that works for how their brain functions, right? And they're not being given that opportunity anymore. So having that extracurricular, that added tutor to help them understand it so they can solve it both ways is super helpful because they're really not taking the time to do that in the classroom anymore.
Exactly. And I think that also with the pandemic, what you had is so many teachers that ended up quitting. So even in a lot of our ISDs, there's a lot of open, there's a lot of open teacher positions. And then so a lot of the teachers were overwhelmed because you can imagine, especially once we were going through the pandemic, it's like, teachers were getting sick, obviously from the kids, that some of the kids that, well, couldn't even be vaccinated. And then some whatever happened to the parents that weren't vaccinated or some that were vaccinated and still got sick. So you had teachers getting sick, counselors.
There was a lot of adversity that had to be overcome, and we had to learn how to get through it. And I feel strongly because I still, with our youth ambassadors for Work Hard, Smile Large that are in high school and some of them that are in college, I still see our young adults wanting to be educators. And I really strongly believe there are a lot of young adults who want to be more involved in the education system. And there are a lot of teachers who probably should phase out because they haven't overcome adversity or adapted to our new needs of the children in the classroom. So I think there's a little shift that's still going to have to take place. And I don't know how long that's going to take. I do have faith in the education system because a lot of my friends' children, like I said, are sophomores and juniors in college, and their friends are still wanting to become educators. And so it gives me faith, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That I know it'd be really hard for me to go back into the education system. It's been a couple decades. And now being a parent, my perspective is really different.
Right.
So, how has your perspective changed since becoming a father? Because you got a toddler on your hands now.
Yes, yes. I have a 2-year-old, and like you said, I mean, your whole perspective changes because you look through as the eyes, of a parent. For so long, I used to sell and I used to talk and was able to connect with the parents, but they used to say like, "Hey, I know you care, but do you have your own kids?" I never could make that type of connection because I didn't have my own. Even though I was like, I treat yours like my own. But now that I have mine, and I'm like, okay, it's a whole different ball game. It's like, and so when you're a part of the the cool club as parenthood, it's like now you see that there's nothing that you won't do for your child, and your main goal as a parent is to make sure that your child is safe and happy. And then when you are, then now you're in a teacher realm. And now you're teaching other people's kids, and they say like, "Oh, do you know what it's like?" It's like, yes, I know what it's like, and I know how like you have that trust and have to trust somebody else. Because like with my son, trying to get like having him to talk, it's like, you know what? Sometimes with dad, he wants to play, he wants to play, and he just wants to like, no, I want to run around, and I have to trust and like take him to the speech therapist. You have to have design time to where you talk, because with me, you see me as dad and play.
Exactly. Yeah. And advocating for that and what his needs are, you know what I mean? And what you're not able to fill because you do want to be the dad. Like, I just want to be the mom. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I know they're not going to perform for me like they are for another one. So I actually don't even we have tutors, like academic tutors for my daughters for math and such. But I have, afternoon help with my kids because I do run 2 real estate teams, and I work hard, small, large, which the kids are a part of. But I call our afternoon help like babysitters, helpers, and mentors, because they're mentoring my children. They're able to sit down with them if I'm not at home that one day to be able to work through the spelling words and do stuff. And I look at tutors like mentors. They're really able to create that personal connection, because going back to happy, healthy learning environment, I always say this in every meeting with my daughter's teachers, or when I'm talking about the education system and what it's been like for us to relocate to a new area and a new school district. I always say, like, are they in a happy, healthy learning environment in their classroom? Is this the right educator for them? And if they're lacking in one or the other, like, how can I help my daughter advocate for herself? Or how can I help them understand that just like in the real world, it's not going to be perfect in every classroom. You've got to find your place in it, and you've got to show kindness, and you've got to always try hard, always work hard, always smile large. Know that some teachers are going to be a perfect fit for you, and some are going to be a little more challenging because it might not be as happy for you in their classroom, or they might have a different personality than what you were used to in kindergarten or first grade, and it's really helped us. Like, I talk about it a lot in my community, and I talk about it a lot with my friends, and I had a friend come over last night, and she's got a little one going into kindergarten, and she's got one that's in first grade. And she's asking me from like third grade, fifth grade perspective, like, what's it like? What are the teachers like? How does it change? And it's really fun being able to communicate with people and talk to them and be a resource for them. And I think Hard Smile Large just opened up that platform for me in our community. And I hope it does across the nation and even the world, because I feel like school has a community and the parents have a community, and not all the time is the school community and the parental community super connected anymore. And again, it takes some time for us to overcome what happened in the last few years, and what really created that divide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I strongly believe that if the people in the community come together and we talk about, our differences and what's working and what needs to be done and how we want to get involved and help. I mean, heck, a lot of us are willing to donate our time and our resources, you know what I mean, to come in and help in any way possible, outside of the classroom to help the school environment. And I think that's going to be really where it makes a difference. And it sounds like your tutoring club environments and your involvement in them, you know what I mean, is the heartbeat. And students are the heartbeat. The families are the heartbeat of a school. Teachers don't have a job if they're not there. Like, there's a heartbeat of the school. And I think the teachers are there to create a happy, healthy learning environment to help that heartbeat be strong, right? And carry it grade to grade.
Exactly. And then something that you had hit on was about tutors being mentors. And so it's more, I run my centers kind of like a big brother thing, big brother, big sister.
We have a big personality. We're going to get it out of you on this episode because you're super entertaining. So I bet when you're in the centers and working with your tutors, they can't find this.
Oh, believe me, it's like, so for the kids and for the students, I tell them, like, if you make a 95 or something on your test, on your math test, then I'll end up doing whatever TikTok dance that you want to do. So I end up doing a dance for them, or I end up doing a dance with them, and they'll come back, they show me a test, and my wife, she'll record it because she's a TikTok queen and all that other good stuff. So it's all about having fun with them. So they have an incentive, like, oh, I get to dance with Mr. Tristan, or like I get to hear him sing. So I end up singing to them. It's like I do all types of things. So it is a whole lot. It is a whole lot of fun when I'm actually in the centers, because the kids really do give you energy.
And you're mentoring them. Like, not every educator can give that individualized attention to their students, and connect with them on that level, like find what makes them tick or will make them perform. I mean, they try their best, but I know as being an educator, it's hard. And so that's really awesome. I mean, I don't doubt that you're pouring love into your tutoring center, miles out of those students. We're going to do a little sidebar here. So Tristan and I met in February as judges for the Miss Houston pageant, and it was my first experience. And so I was just going to share like my one takeaway. I remember meeting you. You took the time. The Miss Houston panel was on one side of the room, and the Miss Teen Houston panel was on the other side of the room when we were doing the interviews for the contestants. And they stood up. All the Miss Houston pageant judges stood up and came over to our table and just introduced themselves. And I just remember you trying to get a smile out of each person you introduced yourself to. And I can only imagine that like effort, right? And like just going out of your way to come over and make all of us smile, all of us connect, and make sure we weren't divided in that room. You know what I mean? And we all kind of getting along, getting to know each other. It was really awesome. So it's just, I know it's who you are. And I think you're in the right place with these tutoring clubs. Like, what's the difference? Because I know you're super involved with like with tutor clubs and how you're running them and what you're doing and how you've been taught to run yours and other tutoring centers. Because I know there's other different types of tutoring centers. I mean, I think I went to Kumon in 8th grade because I'm a horrible test taker. I still am. And I'm okay with that. Like, I have come to peace with it. Like, even taking my real estate exams or my broker's exam in California, I went into it with the same nerves that I did in 6th and 7th grade and in college. And I did great in college. I got 4.0, like got out of there in 3 years, did fantastic, but I still get really nervous. And if I know I have the opportunity to retake a test, I go at it as nervous as I can the first time, knowing I have a second opportunity to retake it, which is, I know that's there. And if not, I'll study more, but it's just who I am.
Nicole, I cannot wait for you to, I have to send you the link that Rachel had made about like the whole thing with Kumon, because there was something that was going viral on TikTok, and it was one of the things like the parents were asking their kids, like, did you do your Kumon? Did you do your Kumon? Kumon, and all that other good stuff. I don't know if you've seen it, but then in the comments sections, so this is where you start to see me. Like, now you're gonna start to see funny Tristan.
Let's go.
So now you see in the comment section, it was just like, oh my God, I remember from people that had previous experiences, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I remember going to Kumon and just wanting to die every single time that I walked to the front door." And then it's like, "Oh, those worksheets made me wanted to run."
Get your packet. Get your packet.
Get your
Get your
packet.
worksheets.
Oh my God. And so I've had 40 customers in the past year that have switched over from Kumon. And then so it's first of all, so I'm gonna send you the link that Rachel had.
I want to see it because it's different strokes for different. Like every child learns differently. Some kids learn really well that way, but it's not a
Yeah.
one size fits all for academics and for learning styles.
Yeah, like no, if you don't spend the time to actually meet with each and every student and see where their needs, like I had, that's why I apologize. I started off a little bit slow, but yesterday I had like 4 appointments with new clients, and one of them was a sixth grader, and he's coming in, and he's like, I went to test masters or whatever, and it was a big group, and it was a group that was like around 10 to 15 kids per teacher, and it was like it's just like school again. He's like, I didn't like it. And then I'm like, okay, well, you see, like the way we're different is like 2 to 3 kids per table. But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about what do you like? And like, why do you want to come to tutoring? Well, my dad said if I don't do tutoring, then I won't be able to play cello next year. So that was his incentive. But getting the time to actually talk with him
Yep.
and actually see that, oh, what is your incentive? Why do you want to do this? And another kid I talked to, he's like, oh, I just don't want to have to go to summer school because I don't want my friends to think I'm stupid because I'm about to fail. And so it's those little things to where the kids have to feel like they have a say.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and they want to feel heard. And that's why I said, you come in here, talk with me, talk with Rachel, talk with the staff. Let's see what type of personality you are. Are you a cut and dry? Let's get to the point. Do you need a cheerleader? Like, oh my God, you did so great. I freaking love you. You're doing great. You're awesome. And they're like, oh, you do love me. I love you too, Mr. Tristan. Yay. So it's like those type of things. And it's to where that shows more because I always say like, we are more than just tutors. Like I like going to the kids' events. Like I go to baseball games. I go to recitals. One of the kids like I've had since 6th grade, I'm going to her quinceañera. So it's in August. So it's one of those like where I say you become a part of the family. And I really truly mean that. And that's why I'm very selective too by the type of parents. I meet with the parents and meet with every kid just to see what type of personality you are and what type of person you are and who you want to be.
So I think that's so amazing that you're proactively doing that because I don't come on strong with teachers or anything. I let them do their job initially and see how my children fit into the classroom or whatever. And then I always like to meet with them and say, hey, I know my kid's learning style. They really need to know we're a team.
Yeah.
It's family, the teacher, the student, right? Like my daughter needs to know that we are collaborating with one another and that we're doing with each other because I'm sitting with her at home and you're in the classroom with her. And I know that's really what helps her tick. You know what I mean? I always proactively try to create that relationship early on in the year, not too early. I like to see how it goes because they may do it on their own. They may be that style of teacher that wants to communicate and share, a little bit more about your student and what their pros and, strengths and weaknesses are and stuff. And some teachers are a little more behind the scenes and just go through the motions, which that's fine. But yeah, it's really important that you as the tutor and as the mentor are reaching out to the family to get to know them too.
Yeah, because it takes a village. It really does. And knowing that as a parent, you want to be Superman, Superwoman for your kid and to do anything and to do everything. And it's just not possible. You can't be everywhere. You can't do everything like you said, you're had a lot of avenues. And you also want to be a great parent and you want to be a teacher to your kid. But sometimes you're like, oh, you know what? Sometimes you're just tired.
I just want to come home and make dinner with them and hear how their day was and not battle them to do their spelling words or get on and finish their project. And it creates a better relationship because whatever they're not able to do or complete while they're at school or on campus or whatnot, you know what I mean? I like having a mentor and me being able to come home and be their parent when I'm able to do that. I stay involved in all their academics and I stay in tune with their tutors and stuff. And additionally, their tutors will text me like the day of their exams or things like that, little positive messages to give to them and things. And I just think it's really, really important,
Oh yeah. And
Yeah, yeah,
and
have
I
some
definitely,
is to mentor your children, you know what I mean? To help you
yeah.
not be the person screaming at them to do their work.
Exactly. I definitely want to touch on that as far as like when you come home, you want to be you want to be completely relaxed. We have so many different hats that we have to put on. You wake up and you're a spouse, I'm a brother, I'm a son, and then next like I'm a tutoring club owner, that I have to be director, mentor, all of that. And then at the end of the day, you just want to come home and just chill with your kid.
Mhm.
And so, like with Phoenix, with my son, it's like after a long day of being cheerleader and being a teacher and all of that, I want to come in. And so right now, I'm so glad he's got off of the Zootopia and the Moana and all that with Disney. And now he's Black Panther. Like he loves Black Panther. So that is his thing. So like now it's like, hey, let's like run around. And I got him like a big, Black Panther, like a stuffed thing, and he absolutely loves it. And so I'm like, I just want to chill with my child. And like what you had said earlier, you just want to hang out with
You
your
know
kid.
what though? They need it for their mental health. Their social emotional is so important. And I think we've made learning so rigorous in a lot of circumstances. They're always teaching to the test and always, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Being compared to one another. And I think that's what the media puts out there too. Uh, but I think their mental health and their social emotional is so important for us to continue to foster. I mean, that's our job as parents. And
yeah,
we hope that the education system is doing the same too. But allowing your children that time to relax their mind,
yeah,
hear the love in, or let the heart, what's hurting them out. And I think that's what's really important, because I think mental health and awareness of that is very
yeah,
important right now, coming out of what we've gone through in the last few years. I hate saying the P word anymore. I hate giving any
yeah, yeah,
where we're at, because I feel like we always need to learn how to overcome adversity. I didn't
yeah,
get to where I'm at without having challenges. And I want children, I want all of us to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Had we not had our lives rattled like that, we wouldn't be persevering like we are now and working so hard together.
mhm.
And so I mean, don't you see yourself just being a positive influence on their mental health as well, day in, day out, while you're involved with them and even with your son?
And one of the things that is a age old stigma when it comes to men is that we shouldn't be emotional, and is that we have to just take it all in and just keep it
Lordy Lord, I had a
there.
Lord. And you have not met my husband yet, but you will one day. And he does a lot and he's making a big impact in this world in healthcare. But I have a daughter who's in middle school and she walked out the door today to get on the bus with her normal little attitude. She didn't have time to get ready and she's the sweetest little thing. And he came back and he goes, "Man, I'm getting emotional." I was like, "Do you not to get her ready?" I'm like, "You just got to wait by her at the door." And he's like, I'm losing her, babe. Getting emotional. I don't know. It's just happening. And he's like, I'm like, "All right, babe, let it out. Let me sit here for a little bit. Let's talk about it." But yeah, that you're vulnerable like that. And I think
Yeah, yeah,
it's really important.
yeah, it is. And then it's so for men, it's like you have to be in touch with that because it actually makes you stronger. And then that's what helps like your mental health, just smiling more. And that's like when you had said, like when you first met me, and I'm glad that you brought that on. You have to work hard and you have to smile large. You have to. And I think that when you had said that about how we met, is that, and that's why I want everybody to relax, chill, smile,
Mhm.
enjoy yourself. Okay. And I think that is the problem that with so many people like in the world now, they're too serious. It's just like I want to go, I wake up and do the same thing and go to the work, come by, say hi to my kids, eat dinner, and just
Or
turn it back.
they're too uncomfortable, like they're not comfortable being themselves too, right? And sharing
Right.
that. You don't know what's right or wrong anymore. Everybody's so cautious. Just be
Mhm.
authentic. Like, you know what I mean? If you have
Exactly.
intention and you have positive influence, or you know what I mean, you have positive intention, like it's be yourself. Be authentic.
Exactly. And then I think that's where everybody's trying to find themselves. And that's why I have a lot of students that have I have students now that are like 15, 16 years old already transgender. I have students that are trying to find themselves as far as having outlets to talk to and coming out to their parents. And as far as like, I don't know how to tell my dad I'm a girl and I like a girl, and he's very religious, and we're in Texas, and things of that nature. And then so to have that open floor plan to where you could say like, okay, this open space to
Yeah.
and trust. Okay, let's talk about this. First of all, thank you for sharing this with me. Thank you for, because this is something that is so deep for you, and I appreciate that you trusted me to discuss this. So, do you want to have the true discussion, or do you want me to just be a PC discussion? And then leave it and let them go ahead and try to navigate it towards that. And they say, I don't want PC, Mr. Tristan. Give it to me raw. Like, talk to me. Like, what do you think? Okay, no bullshit. Let's go. All right, what do you think is going to be your father's reaction when you say this? I think that he's going to disown me. I think he's going to hate me. I think that I am going to bring dishonor to my family. And I think that it's going to make me want to kill myself.
Oh, it's horrible. Like I hate hearing that. Like Angela was on, and I have some other friends that gone through some similar experiences with suicide and stuff. And I think that's really, we need to prevent that. And I think awareness is very important. I'm glad you're being a resource for them, because they need to get it out, and there's resources to help children through this. And I don't see families disowning children. It's going to be hard for both parties, right?
Yeah.
They need help. They need strength from other resources to help them get through it and understand it. But that's amazing. You're doing that. Keep going.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I get really passionate.
Need everything, you know?
Yeah, because so many kids feel powerless, like they don't have a voice. And then they already imagine, when you imagine things in your head, and adults too, when you imagine things in your head and worst case scenarios, usually that's what our brains can go to. What worst that can happen, not what's the best that can happen. What is the worst that can happen? And then you start spiraling from things that may or may not even happen. And then so with them, and and that's helped me to come to, like, you know what? I need to go back and talk to Rachel about this. I need to go back, my wife. I need to go back and talk to my mom about this. I need to tell a parent, like, hey, you said this. I don't agree with it, because I don't think this is, knowing your child, this is not probably what's best for your child. So respectfully, I'm going to push back on this. And then having those hard type of conversations, because the kids need more advocates. And then sometimes they're being bullied, like first graders, because we live in a comparison world, and everything you're compared. Are you reading at a level B or level A? Are you gifted and talented, or you are in 504 program? Are you getting pulled out of class?
Do you have this kind of water bottle, or do you not? You know what I mean? What shoes are you wearing? It's
Exactly.
been around for a long time. It's just hyper focused on now, everybody's differences and comparisons. And yeah, it's excessive.
Yeah. It's just a lot. It's way too much for kids. And then they put too much pressure on themselves. And then they just end up, I use the word a lot, it's spiraling, because once it starts, it just goes. So then, you have so many parents that come to me, like, my kid is usually happy. And now it's like, I can't tell you, probably about 6 out of 10 parents that come to me and call say their kids are depressed. And most of it is because, they're struggling in school, which then affects your mental health, and the fact as your personality changes. Your, like, that joy that you used to have, because I'm like, look, guys,
your effort, you know what I mean? Everything.
Like, the kids is a 9 to 5, like school is a 9 to 5. That's your job. So if you are struggling in your job all day, you're gonna be pissed off. You're gonna be upset. You're going to pout. You're gonna cry. You're gonna have outbursts.
That's my favorite thing to tell my kids. I'm like, this is your only job. Only job you have to do. If you don't do your job, I'm gonna go to jail. I'm gonna go to jail. So if you don't want to go to school, I'll just go drop you off at the police station right now. I was like, because I don't know, you get to go see your friends and eat lunch with your friends. Like, I get to see my friends when I have time for it, but like, you get to do it every day. You get to work in a classroom, you get to be together. Like, come on, like, you gotta get into this and understand that it's necessary, and that it's gonna pass, and you're gonna have your lunch, dinner time, and your weekend and your summers. Like, we don't get summers off. I was just trying to do all the positive stuff, but I'm not gonna lie, I had dropped my children off at the police station before.
You know what? And
I am sorry. I will be honest. They did not go into the police station, but it made an impact. It really did. It was very serious. They didn't believe that I would do that.
It's funny. And I told Rachel, like, Phoenix is 2 now, but he's a man. So, like, and I'm gonna treat him like a man. And it's like, he needs to start pulling his weight. He needs to start working. Okay. So that's why I'm like, okay, you're beautiful. We're gonna take pictures of you. You're gonna get, like, endorsements deals. And I gotta pay bills. You gotta do something. So this is why I'm explaining it to him already. And this is your job. So I can apply to you for that, because so many parents have um, fake. They just bluff, and the fake threats do nothing for the kids.
Nothing.
Because then they're like, oh, well, mom's been saying the same thing, that she's going to kick me out the house for the last 2-3 years, or not going to give me this. And the kids, they know it, and they're like, oh, mom's full of shit. So
And I overcame it. Like I realized when my daughter was in kindergarten, so this is, oh my gosh, so long ago, because she's in 6th grade now, 6 years ago. I realized what it was, why she didn't want to be there. And we worked on that, right? So by me being straightforward and addressing the situation head on, like freight train, and dropping off at the police station and driving to the other side of the parking lot.
That's still hilarious. I'm sorry.
Her baby sister in the car.
How old was she?
She was in kindergarten, so fifth, 5.
Yeah.
But again, my children, I'm very communicative with my children. It's not like, you know what I mean? We talk and they communicate very well. So she understood that it was very serious, that she didn't want to be at school and that she was fighting, and she that day would not. I mean, I was like, had to drag her. I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But I found out what it was. She had anxiety and was very shy. And so what brought out was she was able to communicate with me, because she realized my frustration and my fear of not being a good parent and taking her for her job to go to school. She wanted to share with me her feelings too. And so we got really to the root of it through the, aggressive approach that I took. And then we worked on that. We got to school before school started.
Was your husband on board for that too, as far as like dropping them off?
It's frustrating as a father. And we've had to overcome that as a husband and wife too, because I was aware that there was something deeper than we weren't going to be able to control, right? We had to get help and figure out how to solve this, because she wanted to be there first and observe everything that was going on and not be the one walking in last minute or us rushing her in. And it went for school, dropping off in the kindergarten line. It went for any activity we went to, any soccer game, any ballet or whatever. We had to make a conscious effort to get there 10 to 15 minutes before it started, so she could go at her pace to get out of the car and get her things and get in, get comfortable and be there and assess the environment changing as more people came and stuff. And Easter, the families, I mean, even our family, like we couldn't walk in. We have a big family, and we couldn't be the last ones to walk in. Like we had to get there and help set up and do stuff. And over time it helped her. Like it really did. And I kept her busy as all get up. I mean, in everything after school. So she didn't have time to sit and stew and be worried about things. We were super involved. But again, it got to the root of it by me being kind of wild and bringing her to the police station and doing that.
Well, I think you have to think outside the box a lot of times, not only as a parent, but as an educator and whatever it is that you do.
And I turned to her physician and said, hey, this is what I'm going through. I'm worried about her health, like her stomach, like she's the stress that she has, and we're trying things. And so she put me in touch with a child, like a family therapist. And this is my big secret. I did not tell my husband. And both my children were in on it. I said, hey guys, we can't tell dad, because dad thinks everything, we don't need doctors or help or anything like that. But let's just do this together. And so my oldest was it was probably around, later into her kindergarten year, 1st grade year. And my little one was 3 years younger than her. And they're like, all right, mom, let's do it. So we would go, and Luelle would do play therapy and talk to somebody. And then she'd bring my other daughter and I in, and we'd talk about it. And it was super short-lived. There were a few months that we did it. She goes, she's good. Like, I've seen you guys are good. She got it out. You guys got the tools. And that's the way to.
And you know what? And I think that, and you had touched on something, and I really want to elaborate on that. As far as seeking help, it does not make you less of a person for seeking out help, for having somebody else, a different voice, a different technique, a different strategy, because pride and ego are the killers, so many people, businesses, so forth and so forth. And some people will I would rather be in the grave and die knowing that I was right instead of just going out and just seeking somebody else. And I'm like, no, because I had to go through therapy and talking with somebody and having different perspectives, different outlooks. And then I think that's very important. So I definitely applaud you doing that, because a lot of people don't fight, especially for their kids. And you say listen, my kid is getting sick. They're getting nauseous. They're getting anxiety. You have to try anything. I mean, you have these survival skills. And, I didn't feel like I was deceiving my husband, but I felt like I was trying something that I needed to know was going to have a positive impact before I could really change his mind. I made sure that I tried that first. And I talk to a lot of my friends now.
I mean, this is 6 years later. I have friends whose children were, um, pull back a little bit on things or are showing the same symptoms as well. And if they come and talk to me, I'm like, hey, let me tell you the story, like what I did and like what helped. This is what I did. You might not have to do that, because what I learned is that she just had to get there earlier. She had to be more prepared. I couldn't be rushing out the door, driving 50 miles an hour to drop her off at first grade, you know what I mean? Throwing her lunchbox at her or whatever. Like, I had to make sure we were calm going to school. We were calm going into certain scheduled events and things like that. And that really made a difference. So why don't you try that for a little bit and see if it helps? And I'm able to share my experience. And I think that's a lot about like what I do when I try to do these events in my community and with other families and adults. I mean, I invite the soccer team, I invite everybody to everything that we're doing, because I want everyone to be able to collaborate and talk. We are all going through life. We all have our own lane we stay in and our own path we drive on. But guess what? We can all learn from each other. And when our children see us at barbecues and soccer games and whatever, talking about our things and sharing with each other, our similarities and our differences and things like that, and laughing, we are inadvertently teaching them how to do that themselves in their social groups. And that's what I think really needs to happen. I think our children and the youth need to have the tools to be able to talk about things with each other, and be able to network and collaborate in a social setting and move forward and work on things together, and not rely on adult to tell them how to do it or to talk to them about it. I think that they can really learn from us now and be stronger communicators and advocators of their needs and, their likes, their
100%.
hobbies, right? Their goals, just like we do.
Yeah, and the kids are so perceptive, and they like to mimic what they see, whether it's television, internet, phone, whatever it is that they're going through. They like to mimic. That's kind of like that's what they know. So when they see other people, like a community, that's what I like. Essentially, what you were describing, a community of people that are coming together and they're having like productive conversations, smiles, and just being able to, from different walks of life, no matter wherever it is that you're coming from, no matter what it is, like your, tax bracket, whatever, none of that even matters. It's just having seen their parents and seeing others smile, having a good time, eating, joking, laughing. And that is what we need in our world more of.
We need to learn and grow from each other.
And for me, it's progression, not perfection. And that's how I try to live my life. It's how I try to preach to my students. It's like, you will never be perfect, but it's all about progression, and progression looks different for everybody. And some people say, well, I want to lose 50 pounds, and they lost 30. And they're like, that's like, I need to get my weight, but that's still progression. You're still, that's a whole lot. And you have to applaud what you've done.
No, I agree. And that's what's happened with my children too. You know what I mean? I always say practice makes, and I let them fill in the blank, and they always say perfect. Like, we're not trying to be perfect here. We're just trying to keep growing and learning, right? Work hard, smile large. Like, I used to say that all the time, like, practice makes perfect, practice makes perfect. And you know what I mean? That perception of being perfect is great, you know what I mean? But to be realistic, we're trying to progress. We're trying to get better. We're trying to put in the hard work so we can smile large. And that's awesome. I love your mantra and your life motto. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So we'll stay in touch, and I really, I'll give everybody your resources below in the description so they can connect and maybe find a tutor virtually here in Texas that they can work with this summer. There's a lot of different tutoring sites, but what I want to tell my listeners right now, what I want to tell our community right now is who your tutor is and how they connect with your family and communicate with your student and really help hone in on their learning styles is so important, because a tutor is more than a teacher. They're a mentor. And I think it's just so important for us to support our children, not just inside the classroom, but outside of the classroom too. It's, consistency is key, and happy, healthy learning environments are ultimately what we all strive for and what we all want to try and provide our children and the youth that we inspire. So I love what you're doing, and it was really great getting to know more about it. And I'd love to have you back on and talk more about where we've worked towards and what we've achieved in our goals and stuff like that in the future. So
let's do it.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And if you're you or your wife or your son want to come to any of our events, they're usually hosted in Austin or in California, but I hope to get more going throughout the nation and kind of be able to have events replicated for Work Hard, Smile Large. So make sure to get you those and keep you guys included in that. So hopefully we can get our families together soon.
Definitely. Get some barbecue. Coopers.
Anytime. We love socializing, and I would love for you to meet the kids and stuff like that too. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your passion for Tutor Club and your family and making a better future for our children. I'm just super excited for you, and we'll get everybody your information. Have a great.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Nicole.
Work hard.
Smile large.
Welcome to the Work Hard, Smile Large podcast, where we explore the outcome of hard work and the power of positivity in our daily lives. In each episode, we'll delve into the benefits of positive mindsets, hear inspiring stories, and provide tips for cultivating smiles all around us, highlighting healthy habits and living a full life while giving focus to various lifestyles that shine bright in this world. Help spread Work Hard, Smile Large in your community by coming together, pouring into others, and inspiring the youth to become WHSL ambassadors too. Sit back, relax, and get ready to embrace the Work Hard, Smile Large vibe.